So you've recently split up with your significant other, and they're texting you and calling you, telling you that they've made massive changes in their life. And you're wondering, have they really changed? Because if they have, this relationship could be amazing. So how do you know if someone's actually made the changes that they need to make the relationship successful? Okay, well, if you watch this video, I'll help you understand change and help you to understand if they truly have changed or if they are just giving you lip service to try it all over again. Hey friends, glad to be back today. And I get a question asked by many of my clients saying, okay, I just went through this breakup again. My significant other is constantly texting me, telling me that they've made all these changes. Can I trust the fact that they've made these changes, and should I really try the relationship again? And that's a great question. But we really need to understand what is significant change and how do we make significant change in order to understand if this is possible and if they've actually changed, or if we're just kind of redoing this cycle pattern again, only to end in the same fashion of a breakup. On average, it takes more than 2 months for a new behavior to become automatic. Okay, that's 66 days to be exact. And from that, how long does it take a new habit to form can really vary depending on the person, depending on the behavior, and depending on the circumstances, okay? So usually after a breakup, throughout the lifetime of a relationship, the other person may have said on multiple occasions and multiple breakups that they have made significant changes. But is it true? So in order to understand if it's true, we have to go through the model of change, because there actually is a paradigm of change that we can go to and really understand what change is, what real change is, and what lip service change is. Because sometimes we get back in the relationship and nothing's changed. So after I go through this change paradigm so you can accurately understand if they have changed or not, I'm going to provide 2 red flags that you need to watch out for. 2 major, massive red flags that could change everything and get you back into a toxic relationship, because I don't want to see that happen to you. But right now, let's look at the change paradigm and understand that model. So the change paradigm begins with the first concept, which is the pre-thought. Right? The pre-thought. And what does pre-thought mean? It means the pre-thought that they are denying the need to change. Like, there is no need to change because there is no problem. Okay? So they haven't at all thought about changing. And some people are still there, right? They don't see themselves as the problem. They see themselves as the victim. They see themselves as everybody's doing this to them. Right? That they don't have to worry about that it has nothing to do with them, that everybody else needs to change around them, not them. So if they're in the concept and the stage of pre-thought, there has been no change, right? The idea of changing hasn't even gone into their head. Maybe the idea of you changing, but not the idea of them changing. The second level of the change model is thought, okay? Thought. They're not committed to any change. They're not committed to any action. There is no action, but they know that there needs to be something that takes place, okay? So in the thought process, we begin to realize that, well, maybe something needs to happen because I wouldn't be in this position if I was a little different. And maybe also, had I had made some changes in the past or now, I wouldn't be living in the same pattern. Because a lot of times in the thought process in stage 2, we begin to start putting, connecting the dots. Okay, well, I was in that last relationship that didn't work, and then I was in that relationship before that didn't work. And so maybe there's something I can do. And maybe because of XYZ, maybe because of my anger, or because of past failed relationships, or because of my fear of abandonment. If I can work on those things somehow, maybe this would change the direction and the trajectory of this relationship. And so that's the second concept, which is thought. The third stage of the change module is preparing oneself for action. Okay? So when you're ready to make some changes, you have to prepare. You have to create an outline, so to speak, a plan, right? Of what you're going to change and what needs to change in order to make things work, but also to feel better about oneself, right? So if there's some issues that you're dealing with, like you see that you get triggered into some argumentations or rage because of things that happened in your past and needing to deal with that and basically unpack that baggage. Okay, so preparing oneself to change would be like, okay, I'm going to create a plan. I'm going to either work with my minister, my life coach, or my therapist, and I'm going to find one. Okay, and I'm going to figure that out. Maybe I need to get some books on, if I deal with rage, maybe I need to get some books on rage. If I'm dealing with what I think is codependent behavior, I need to start looking into that. What does that mean? Doing some investigation, understanding that, being able to read and understand that information, and also creating a plan of how I'm going to make changes. And a lot of this, in this particular situation, the preparing position is so valuable because the person is actually looking within, really, for the first time, of what they need to do to change their life. And that's the beginning of real change. That's the beginning of about to have real change, is that I'm going to look within. I'm not blaming it on other people. I'm not victimizing myself. I'm not saying, well, if she or he would be a better person, or they would be more this or that, it wouldn't have gotten that way. No, it's at the point where, you know what? I got to take ownership of this, because it takes two to tango. The fourth level of this model is what I consider just do it. Okay, so we've prepared ourselves for the change. We've prepared of what we need to do. We've decided that we maybe need to work with somebody. We've gotten some books that really resonate with what we're dealing with. We've begun journaling on situations, anger, resentments, triggers. We're starting to understand this. We're starting to unpack a lot of stuff that we've been dealing with. We're starting to understand this internal dialogue that's creating negativity and havoc in our life, and we're just doing it. At this part, there is the beginning of change. Okay, we're actually doing something to create the change, right? Where it's not just talking about it, we're not just thinking about it, we're not just searching out options, we're actually in the process of doing. Okay, and doing is that next level stuff. Doing means I care enough about myself to do this, and yes, they care about the relationship too, but this needs to be really focused on self. Okay, because each person is coming into this relationship with their own baggage and luggage. Each person is coming into this relationship with their own program, right? And so a lot of times what happens is we're fighting and arguing with each other, but we're really not arguing with them. We're actually arguing with their program. Okay, this is really significant, and it might take a little while to drill down, but once you understand that, you realize that we're actually interfacing with other people's baggage and how they hear what we say, not necessarily what we said. Okay, so in this position of just do it, we are actually beginning to create change. The next level is maintenance. We want to maintain the work that we've done. We want to maintain this. Now, this doesn't mean I went to therapy or coaching or whatever for a couple of weeks and I'm fine, or I read a book and I'm good, or I, listened to a podcast and it changed my life. No, that is not what we call maintaining it. That is lip service. That is, I'm doing the absolute minimal amount of stuff and I've given up. Okay, no, maintenance means, okay, if I'm seeing somebody once a week, twice a week, once every 2 weeks, I'm following up, I'm committed, I'm consistent. I'm also journaling every single second that I can. I'm really being aware of my thoughts and my internal dialogue, and I'm writing this stuff down, and I'm really beginning to become more mindful in my life. That is maintenance, okay? Like if you are maintaining a healthy lifestyle, it's not like you take a bunch of vitamins and you eat vegetarian for 2 weeks, right? That's not the way it goes. Maintenance means I wake up in the morning and I eat this, and that. I drink 32 ounces of water with this. I do this every single morning. When I eat lunch, I do this, I do that. You see what I'm saying? It's maintenance. It means doing what is required that you know you need to do, and doing it every day to actually create real change, but to actually hold on to that change and make that change your new reality. So this is another great space. If they're in the space of maintaining it, that's really good, because you're seeing consistency. And that's when you begin to see the change being consistent, because you have to have change over a period of time and you have to maintain it. Otherwise, the person could get backwards, right? And they don't maintain it, or otherwise it could just be lip service. Yeah, I saw a counselor one time or whatever, and they're just telling you that. You get back in the relationship and you realize that nothing has really changed, okay? So this maintenance is so extremely important. And I want you to think about that, because once you get there, that's when things begin to blossom. Once somebody gets there, that's when somebody can actually really say, yes, I am and I have made major strides and changes in my life, and I feel good about where I am. And you'll be able to see the difference, feel the difference, hear the difference by being around someone that's really taking the time to work on themselves and continuing to do so, because you'll see it in everything they do. Their entire actions, body language, everything will change. And all of a sudden, you will see that, okay? But let's talk about the 2 red flags, because these 2 red flags can change everything, okay? That's the entire paradigm model of change, but let's talk about these right now. Okay, so the first red flag that I want to bring up right now, and this is big, this is really, 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 really important, is I don't want you betting on false hope. Okay, what I hear a lot of folks say is, he says she's changed, she says she's changed, I want to give them, I want to give them a chance. You know, maybe they have, because when they're great, they're great. When the relationship is wonderful, it's amazing. But when it's not, it's horrible and it's painful. And you know, I understand that, but I don't want you to get wrapped up in false hope, because if they're not at the just do it stage and they're not at the maintenance stage, they haven't changed. They might be thinking about it, they might be talking about it, they might be on Amazon looking at some options of books. They may be, you know, looking on YouTube, trying to find a good coach or a therapist. They might be going to their church, but they haven't done anything real, okay? And that's something that I want you to be aware of, because false hope is not good. False hope is us lying to ourselves that the person has changed. False hope is us going back into the relationship and over a period of time realizing nothing's changed, right? And dealing with this all over again. Is that what you want to keep doing? Because I bet if you're watching this video right now, you breaking up with this person, it's not the first time. There's been multiple times. And I'm sure it's been based on this change quotient, right? But did they change in the past? And I'm not saying don't ever judge people on everything they do in the past, but if it's only been a few weeks or even maybe a month, we really got to realize that this is probably a false hope, and we probably don't need to get back into the relationship at this time. The second red flag, and this is a doozy, okay? The second red flag is that you're actually fixating on them. You're fixating on the changes that they need to make. Like it's all about them, but it's not. If you're in a toxic relationship at this time that's not working, there's stuff that you need to change. There's things that you need to get right with you, okay? That you're accepting this, that you're okay with this, that they're triggering you, that there's arguments. We need to get right. And so in a relationship, both people need to work on themselves independently. Okay? Because you have issues that you probably need to deal with, and they have issues that they need to deal with. But we can't allow ourselves to get into the victim mentality, right? We also can't get in the mindset of enabling someone else. Okay? So if we keep getting back in the relationship and we're not looking for real change, or it's okay that they didn't really change, that's enabling. Okay? That also speaks volume to the fact that maybe they didn't need to change, right? Maybe it's not about them. And so I really want you to think about this. Are you fixated on their change only? Okay? And I'm not pointing blame. I'm just saying that we all have things that we need to work on, because if we are healthy and we have worked on our internal dialogue and we have worked on the programs that we're running in our head and we have worked on that negative broken record of the things that we say about ourselves that brings ourselves down, we would be in a healthy relationship. We wouldn't be in a relationship where we're breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together, because we wouldn't accept it. And also we wouldn't bring that energy to us. So thoughts to think about. Those 2 red flags are very important, because I don't want you falling prey to the false hope. And I also don't want you thinking that it's all their need to change, because it's also yours as well. I hope this video has helped you, because when we're trying to figure out if someone's changed, you know, we have to remember that sometimes, you know, we have that hope. We have what we want to happen, right? We have that future thinking, and then we have those really almost memories that we can almost taste, that we can touch, of how great the relationship was in certain times, right? And we start kind of changing historical record, right, to match that, because there were some good times. I'm not telling you that there were never any good times in this relationship, but we start coloring it that way, and we start losing perspective. So real change takes time, and you have to get in the just do it stage and the maintenance stage to actually make it work, but also to actually make it survive so that you can use this to change your life forever and better your life. And you know, one of the biggest things is that we need to change for ourselves. Okay? The change needs to start with us, because once we make those changes in our life and we find that unconditional love in ourselves, that radiates to all of our other relationships, right? So it's not about just trying to fix this relationship. It's actually trying to work on you for the betterment of your life for every day in every relationship that you have. The biggest relationship is the relationship with yourself. Please share this video with your family and friends. And in the comment section below, if you've made some real changes in your life, whether it's about relationships or dealing with your internal dialogue, or even health or fitness or weight loss or quitting smoking or anything like that, tell us about it. Tell me about it in the comment section, and let me know how long it took you to make that a life change, right? I'm interested, because it might have taken more than 66 days. It could have taken less. I'd like to know more about you and understand what change means to you and how long the change took. Don't forget to live your true life.